We took the train from Antibes station to Cannes, less than an hour's journey, about the same distance from Nice, but in the opposite direction along the same railway line. Cannes bears little resemblance to Antibes in that it is a fine and wealthy city, world famous for its film festival and a favourite location for the yachting fraternity, Hollywood stars and retired gentry. It is associated with the rich and famous, its luxury hotels and restaurants, and is a base for several conferences. By the end of the 2nd century BC, the Ligurian tribe had a settlement here, a fishing village, and part of a port of call between the Lerins Island, from where St. Patrick set out to convert Ireland to Christianity. In 69 AD, there was a record of a violent conflict here between the troops of Otho and Vitellius. In the 10th century, it was known as Cana, a name possibly derived from a reed on account of the extensive swamps. A Roman outpost set up on Losuke Hill, where in the 11th century a tower here overlooked the swamps where the city now stands. An attack by the Saracens in 891 set up a colony here until the 10th century and devastated the country around Cannes. The monks from Lerins Island ruled the town for hundreds of years, and it eventually became independent. During the 18th century, both the Spanish and the British tried to gain control over the Lerins Islands, but were thwarted by the French. There was a hospital here for soldiers wounded during the Crimean War. Henry, 1st Baron of Bron, built his villa Eleanor Louise here and was followed by more of the British aristocracy building their residence in Cannes. The first film festival was commenced directly after the Second World War in 1946 in the Casino Municipal. I walked from the station and made my way towards the elevated land westwards from the harbour with the intention of obtaining panoramic views over the city from the top. I found ascending steps, escalier de la Tour, and climbed these to the top of the hill. From here, I was able to obtain excellent views over the city and the harbour. We only had an hour or so to explore the city and didn't have sufficient time to visit the museums or places of interest set out in the brochures and tourist information. This area was known as Losuke and is the old quarter of Cannes, probably best known to tourists for the narrow and winding old streets, cobblestoned lanes and its many restaurants. It contains a clock tower and a church at the top overlooking the Bay of Cannes. There is a market on the lower land in the mornings and in the afternoons. Originally, Losuke was inhabited by the fishing fraternity, and here they had their dwellings, many over 400 years old, and the pattern of the streets were laid out around this time. On account of the steepness of the streets, much of this area is pedestrianised, adding to its popularity with tourists. Route de Soquet was originally the main road into Cannes. It came in below the walls of the old castle, reminding one of Cannes' troubled past. I headed back towards the train station and came to Boulevard de la Croisette, which wrapped around the Bay of Cannes and past its harbour. This is a most popular walk for tourists and locals alike, and looking out to sea one can observe the comings and goings of the boats. There was an old sailing ship amidst the exotic yachts. It was inevitable that I would come to the statues and monuments of France's involvement in both the First and Second World Wars. The French do not want to forget their past and want us to remember her dead and how it changed their world. All French cities and towns remember their lost generations in these wars, honouring those who died and asking us not to forget such horrors. I don't want to end on a sad note. The boulevard was a vibrant and colourful place, with lots of monuments and fountains and things to see. Benches were everywhere, inviting weary legs to sit down and rest in the exotic world of the Riviera and the Côte d'Azur. Some exhibits were quite modern, such as this plump gentleman carrying a ball and these colourful cracker-like sculptings. And of course, the beautiful ceramics for which the south of France is so famous.
Moi, j'irai les casser.